If you've lived more than 70 years, let me tell you something important first. You are not undisciplined. You are not careless, and you are not holding on for no reason. You've lived through times many people today can't imagine: war, shortages, uncertainty, and loss. You learned to save, to keep things, because one day they might matter, and for a long time they did. So this video is not about telling you that you lived the wrong way, and it's definitely not about throwing everything out. Think of this as a gentle conversation, a soft question you ask yourself, not anyone else. Is there anything in my home that's quietly making my daily life more difficult? Not because you can't handle it, not because you've changed for the worse, but because life has shifted, and what once fit your life perfectly may not fit it anymore. Today, we'll look at 7 things that aren't useless, but can quietly make life after 70 feel heavier than it needs to be. You don't have to agree with every point. Just listen and keep what still brings you comfort, ease, and peace.
1. The parts of your home you no longer walk into. Let me ask you something simple. Is there a part of your home you avoid? Maybe a room you haven't opened in months, a space that slowly became storage instead of living space, a hallway you rush through because it feels tight or cluttered. This happens to many people after 70, not because they stop caring, but because life changes. You don't need as much space as you once did, you don't move as fast, and you learn to conserve energy without even thinking about it. So your daily life becomes centered around fewer rooms, and little by little, the rest of the house becomes background. At first, it doesn't feel like a problem, but over time, it creates quiet challenges, more things to step around, more dust to clean, more effort to move safely. And something else happens too. You begin adjusting your body to the space instead of adjusting the space to your body. You walk slower, you hold on to furniture, you avoid carrying things through certain areas. This isn't weakness, it's adaptation. But adaptation can turn into limitation, and that's where a small change can make a big difference. You don't need to clear a whole room today. You don't need to make decisions about everything at once. Just ask yourself this one question. Is this space still helping me live comfortably, or is it just holding things? Sometimes a spare bedroom doesn't need to be a bedroom anymore. Sometimes a hallway only needs enough space for safe, confident steps. Sometimes a corner just needs to breathe again. Even clearing a single walking path can reduce daily strain more than you expect. Less stress on your body, less worry in your mind, and more freedom in your movement. Your home doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to work with you. And when it does, life feels lighter, without you losing anything that truly matters.
2. The things you keep to prove who you used to be. There are objects we keep not for function, but for identity. They sit quietly in closets, drawers, or spare rooms, rarely used, rarely touched, but deeply connected. A uniform from a former job, tools from work that once defined your days, clothes that fit a body, a role, or a responsibility you once carried. They don't just take up space, they tell a story. They say, I mattered, I was capable, I was needed. And after 70 years, that story is real. You lived it, you earned it. So let's be clear, this is not about dismissing your past. But here's the quiet truth. When we surround ourselves with too many reminders of who we used to be, we sometimes forget to honor who we are becoming. These objects can freeze time. They hold you in a moment that no longer exists. You might not even realize it, but each time you see them, your mind compares today to yesterday. And that comparison can feel heavy, not because today is less valuable, but because it's different. You don't need to compete with your past. You don't need to prove anything anymore. Your worth is no longer measured by titles, productivity, or strength. So here's a gentler way to look at it. Choose a few items that truly represent pride, not pressure. Let them tell the story without demanding you relive it. Ask yourself, does this object honor my journey, or does it keep me stuck in it? A shelf of meaningful memories is powerful. A room full of reminders can quietly drain you. Your past deserves respect, but it doesn't need to occupy your present. 3. The things that make you quietly apologize to yourself. Let's talk about a different kind of clutter. Not the kind people usually point out, but the kind that lives in your mind. Have you noticed objects in your home that trigger the same thought every single time you see them? I should repair that. I meant to use that. I really need to deal with that someday. And somehow, someday never comes. These items are dangerous, not because they take up space, but because they take up attention. They turn your home into a list of unfinished business. Each one becomes a small voice saying, "You haven't done enough." That voice may be quiet, but it's persistent, and over time it drains you, not physically, mentally. You begin to feel tired without knowing why. You feel behind, even when there's no deadline. You feel like you're constantly catching up to yourself. But here's something important to understand. You are not required to complete every intention you ever had. Life changed, energy changed, priorities changed, and that's not failure, that's reality. You have the right to stop carrying tasks that no longer fit the life you're living now. So ask yourself this gentle question. Is this item waiting for action or waiting for permission to leave? If it only exists to make you feel guilty, then its time may already be over. Your home should not pressure you. It should support you. Peace is not created by doing more. Sometimes it's created by expecting less of yourself.
4. The things that slow your rhythm. Some days, simple things feel heavier than they used to. Choosing what to wear feels tiring. Standing in the kitchen feels like work. Cleaning feels overwhelming before it even begins. And you might wonder, what's wrong with me today? But often, nothing is wrong at all. It's not age, it's not weakness, it's overload. Too many choices, too many objects asking for attention, too many decisions packed into ordinary moments. Your body feels this before your mind does. When drawers are overfilled, your hands hesitate. When counters are crowded, your eyes tire quickly. When closets are packed, your mind slows before your feet do. The invisible cost is subtle but powerful. You begin avoiding tasks that once felt normal, not because you dislike them, but because they require too much effort to begin. So you delay. You simplify your routine. You do less, not because you want to, but because your energy asks you to. This is not something to fight, it's something to listen to. You have the right to choose a lighter rhythm now, a rhythm that works with your energy, not against it. One drawer less full, one shelf easier to see, one surface open and calm. These are not cosmetic changes. They reduce decisions. They reduce fatigue. They return ease to daily life. And slowly, without effort, your rhythm begins to return.
5. The things you keep because you don't know who to give them to. If you've ever tried to clear something away and stopped yourself, you're not alone. Many people say the same thing. I don't mind letting go, I just don't know who to give it to. That hesitation often comes from a good place. You were raised to avoid waste, to respect what you owned, to make sure things didn't end up thrown away without purpose. So when you hold something that's still useful, it feels wrong to discard it. And so it waits, in a closet, in a spare room, in a drawer you rarely open. But here's what often goes unnoticed. While you wait to decide its future, it quietly takes over part of your present. It occupies space you could use. It adds weight to decisions you don't want to make. It stays in your thoughts longer than it should. You don't need to solve the entire problem of waste. You don't need to guarantee the perfect outcome. You only need to release yourself from responsibility that no longer belongs to you. Once you've cared for something for decades, you've already done your part. Passing it on, even imperfectly, is not careless, it's generous. When something leaves your home at the right time, it doesn't lose its value, it gains a new chapter. And you gain something too: relief, clarity, a lighter heart. Good enough is enough. 6. The things that pull you into the past instead of supporting the present. Some things in your home are not about usefulness, they are about time. They belong to moments that shaped you, people who loved you, versions of life that no longer exist but still matter. These objects are powerful. They can bring comfort, they can bring tears, they can bring a sense of continuity that says, my life meant something, and that is important. But when memory is everywhere, it quietly competes with now. Every surface becomes a doorway to yesterday. Every room carries echoes of another time. And without meaning to, your attention lives behind you, not where your feet are standing. The invisible cost is subtle. You feel less grounded, less present, more tired than you expect to be. Not because you are weak, but because remembering takes energy. You don't need to abandon your memories. You need to choose how often they speak to you. A few carefully chosen objects can say everything that needs to be said. The rest can rest. A memory box you open when you want to remember. A drawer you visit intentionally. A photo album you hold with purpose. This is not forgetting. It is creating boundaries between remembering and living. Because your present life deserves space too. And when the present is supported, memory becomes gentler, not louder. 7. Anything that no longer allows your home to serve you. At this stage of life, clarity matters more than rules. So let's end with one quiet question. If I stay in this home for the next 10 years, does this help me live well, or does it quietly make things harder? There's no judgment in that question, only awareness. A home after 70 does not need to hold every memory, every object, every version of who you once were. It needs to hold you as you are now. Your pace, your energy, your needs. If something makes daily life feel heavier, if it slows you down, creates hesitation, or asks for effort you no longer want to give, it may no longer belong. Not because it's bad, but because your life has changed, and that's allowed. You don't need to take on the whole house. That would be overwhelming and unnecessary. Change does not need to be dramatic to be meaningful. One drawer, one corner, one small decision made with kindness towards yourself. 15 minutes. That's not quitting. That's choosing ease. And ease, after everything you've lived through, is something you've earned. If today you cleared just one thing, even something small, you've already done very well. Because change doesn't begin with big decisions. It begins with kindness toward yourself. At this stage of life, effort matters more than speed, and intention matters more than perfection. Your home was never meant to be a place where you prove who you used to be. You've already lived that life. You've already done the hard work. You've already earned your story. Your home now has a different purpose. It's meant to support who you are today, your energy, your pace, your comfort. A home after 70 should make daily life feel lighter, not more demanding. And every small step you take toward that is a step in the right direction. So if you paused today and cleared one drawer, or moved one item aside, or simply decided what no longer belongs, that matters, because awareness is progress, and progress does not need applause to be real. Thank you for staying until the end of this video. If you're still here, it tells me something important. It tells me you care, not just about your home, but about your life, and that care is powerful. If you feel comfortable, share in the comments. What is the first thing you want to make lighter in your home? Not because you must, but because saying it out loud often makes it easier. There is no rush here, no deadline, no finish line. We only need to move gently, consistently, in the right direction. I'll see you again in the next video from Seeing Your Eyes. Until then, be kind to yourself. Soft music fade out.